Good evening, everyone. It's another dull, wet Sunday evening where I live. Not so much where Alexi, where he is. It's probably been a nice old day in Cornwall. But we're doing another waffle, but we're sort of merging two shows into one tonight because with recent news that's been propping up on the old Twitter machine, we've been compelled to talk about it. So, as always, this is just a complete pogwash podcast. We talk about anything and everything that comes to our minds, and hopefully it entertains the masses out there, whatever there are of you. If you do come to enjoy this thing, the like button's down there, and if you're watching on Twitter, follow us as well and share this around. And subscribe on YouTube. I can't say much more than that. Let's get right into the news. That's the most important thing, everybody. First and foremost, Alexi's here to support me in case I go crazy tonight. Because other than watching Dusan Vlahovic score 7 goals and make me very, very excited about the thought of him wearing a red shirt, even though it's way off the mark, there is someone else that is probably let's just say, within touching distance of becoming a Manchester United player, hence his name in the title tonight. So, Alexi, I must ask you the question. How excited are you at the possibility that we will have a World Cup winner and also a philanthropist in our centre-back partnership?
It's all right, isn't it? I mean, I can't complain. If you'd said to me at the start of the window we'd be getting Varane, I just wouldn't believe you. I'd tell you to turn your Xbox off. I'd tell you to get off career mode or Football Manager, whatever you play. Obviously, game of choice, but yeah, I mean, it seems like we're getting him, and it's almost like, I mean, the reason it's crazy for me is he's like the Mbappe of centre backs, isn't he? If you were going to get any centre back possible, you'd get Varane. So yeah, I mean, as well, like a partnership of him and Maguire. My God, we're really
So
talking
crazy
now. I think weirdly, it'd probably be the most excited I've been about a transfer for about. I can't remember the last time because it probably since Pogba, because it's like it's very rare we go and buy the best player in the world in a position. Varane is the best in the world in his position. It's probably him and Van Dijk and Maguire, of course. But it's so rare we go out and do that. He's quite cheap as well, and it seems like he actually wants to join us. It's not like a Di Maria situation where he doesn't want to, or Falcao, or other players like that, like Sanchez. Like Varane actually wants to come to Manchester United, and
yes,
you know his hero was Rio. You know, so and I think we're quite lucky in the sense that because he's won everything possible at Madrid, there's no point in him staying there anymore. Like, there's really not. If he hadn't won as much as he'd won, he'd probably end up staying. But because he's just won like everything multiple times, it makes sense he wants to change. But I mean, where would it rank for you in like transfers in recent years? Because I mean, I'm the kind of person I usually get a bit overexcited about players, and then they don't do as well as I think. But I think he'll do well, won't he, Varane? I mean, bloody hell.
Yes, mate, he is. He's someone for me that I've been excited to, like, since the links even came into the open. He's been someone I've been incredibly excited about for years on years. We could be saying right now he's 10 years overdue because this was a Ferguson signing in the initial stages. He was only 18. But I was just scrolling through Twitter right now, and I saw the Craig Norwood tweet from 2011 where I think it was going along the lines of Sir Alex Ferguson about to complete a deal for 18-year-old Rafael Varane, who's 6'3", and still is, I think, right now, 6'4" now. And he was 18 at the time from Lens, if we want the French pronunciation. And I thought then, he's a complete newbie to me. Never heard of him, never seen him play. But if Ferguson sees something in him, then he knows talent. We'll see what he could offer. Unfortunately, right under our nose, Real Madrid came in and, you know, let's just say stuck the steak under his nose. He liked how it smelt, and it suddenly decided, I like this one more than this one, so I'm going to just take that particular meat. So, sorry, not this time around, boys. Alas, I wasn't surprised that he moved to Real Madrid when he did, because of the lure of Ronaldo, Benzema, Kaká, at the time. But for
Jose
him
as
to
well.
Jose as well, yes, because I think it was under Jose. He was his his early years. He was probably still not relative unknown because they had a centre back partnership of Ricardo Carvalho and obviously Sergio Ramos then. But yeah, Ricardo Carvalho or Pepe, and then Ramos on the other side, and then whoever played when Ramos wasn't there couldn't even stump up to his level. So you're looking at a very average.
The standard was crazy, wasn't it?
It was crazy standard back in the day. How he does it is beyond me.
Sorry, I'm already changing the subject. We will come back to this, I promise. But I was talking to someone about this the other day. I really think the overall standard of football is worse now than it was 10 years ago. And people always say to me it's because of nostalgia. But when you look at it, right, Juventus aren't that good now. Real Madrid aren't that good now. Barcelona aren't that good now. United, we've not been that good for, 6-7 years.
Quite a while, yeah.
Yeah, quite a long time. Arsenal are not as good. There's a lot of teams, isn't it? Like, to drop in quality. And you look back 10 years and you think like, oh, AC Milan, that's another one. AC Milan used to have an incredible side.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just look at it now and like you just listed those Madrid defenders then, and like obviously the attackers, you've got like Di Maria, Kaká, Ozil, Ronaldo, all these players, Xabi Alonso in there as well. Barcelona. I mean, we don't even need to talk about. Everyone knows Barcelona's team. Then it was the best.
I'm still going withdrawal symptoms from the night that Messi messed us up. So the less I think about that, the better.
But it's mad, isn't it? I mean, maybe. So, do you think I'm being nostalgic, or do you think there's truth in this? Because I genuinely think the quality of the big teams is a lot lower, personally.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
You're inclined to make that argument, I think, because I do remember football 10 years ago being a very different game, and it was definitely less. Well, let's say then, back then, 2008, I still remember attack being the best form of defense at the time. That was probably how we knew football for like how we knew it, as you simply go up the field. If the defense is terrible, you score 100 goals and run away with all the pots. Ever since the Spanish, however, I think this is practically their fault. Ever since the Spanish / Barcelona started playing this intricate style of football, it changed, I think, a lot of teams' outward perspective of how to play the game. And winning Euro 2008 against Germany was the catalyst for a period of dominance that I don't think anyone else could foresee them surrendering. I do believe when they, not only on a national level, but on club level, when Barcelona won the Champions League, the Copa del Rey, the league, and then 3 other cups in the same year, they suddenly became this juggernaut, which everyone thought couldn't be stopped. And they strengthened that throughout the early 10 period, so like 2010 to 2014. They still strengthened that even more. It's only then, I think, when we got to we got the first use of technology in the game that we started to see a little bit of a shift in like unreliability in the referees or the players as such, that I feel may have a role to play in changing the game. If we're talking on the pitch though, and the overall, like, if we just think about the 11 men kicking a bag of air for 90 minutes, I think the Spanish are to blame for the last 10 years and why it's changed so much the way we think of football or see it as it is now.
Could you argue Jose as well, though?
Yeah.
Because I think Jose made defending quite a complex art, didn't he? Because what we see now, I mean, I completely agree with your point from the Spanish point of view, but I also think what we see now from teams like even like Burnley or I don't know, West Brom, I don't know, like
West Brom comes to mind, yes.
Lower level teams, they defend like genuinely well. Whereas what they used to do back then was they defend, but they weren't actually that good at it, and they weren't very well drilled at it. And more than often, we would beat teams 5-0. Whereas if you play Burnley now, for example, it's a really tough game, genuinely, and they're really well drilled. And I think that's to do with Jose a bit, because I think what Jose did was he made defending kind of like a fashionable thing, didn't he? and
Yes,
everyone
he
kind of
did.
wanted to defend for it. And like that, I guess Simeone still carries that on now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Jose Mourinho is kind of part of the reason why football changed, and because he took something like defending, which is very kind of simplistic and basic, and turned it into an art form, a skill.
Yes.
Obviously, that might be outdated now. I think it probably is outdated now, but he completely revolutionized it in the same way other managers like Guardiola revolutionized attacking football, Mourinho revolutionized defensive football, and then I guess we saw a few years later a kind of, I guess you call it Gegen pressing, I don't know, like the kind of Klopp /
Style of
Guardiola
football, yeah.
/ kind of that kind of era. But now, obviously, like we're in kind of an era where it feels like defensive football's kind of being left behind again,
Mm-hmm.
because more and more teams are pressing. We look at how Brighton play, and Manchester United, Liverpool, Tottenham, City all want to play with the high line.
Yeah.
I mean, would you say, like, do you think the quality of football matches is better now than it was then? Because I feel mixed on this, because at first I thought, no, it's not. But then I think we have seen some brilliant matches recently, haven't we? And you do
Yes.
forget, when Inter won the Champions League, it wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
Like, they were really defending against Barca and that. I mean, do you think the quality of matches, let's say the Champions League games, do you think those matches are better now than they were in 2011, for example?
I wanna say yes, on the grounds that you brought up that final in Madrid in 2010 against Bayern, in which I think I remember the pre-match very well because it was seen as Jose's opportunity. He was basically in the limelight. Van Gaal treated this game like as I'm sure we all know him to treat big finals with like a level of seriousness, and thinking that Mourinho wouldn't be able to carry that because he's still the arrogant character we know him for today in Mourinho, even though he seems to call himself the happy one or the special one. He's many monikers for what we know him as, right? But I think then that final change for me had earmarks of what the game would become later on, and obviously what it is roughly now, where we see this, this brand of football where clubs or teams tend to, let's say, not incorporate, but harness this defensive stance against bigger sides. So you're going to see this against big, like it's more like the inferiority complex. Like they'll feel like we can't play against you because you have the better players. We won't say average. We have players that, while capable of performing at a high level, cannot outplay you. And we know that if we try to take on your attack, we will open up spaces behind us for them to break in, and they'll score more than probably 5 or 6. So I think it is that, inferiority complex that plays a role. And it's why you see these teams not only at Premier League level, but you find this happens in every league, where teams nearer the bottom will defend more to not only avoid, let's say, being a difference 2 points from being relegated. It is that much between the two. It is that much between, playing to a standard or being ripped apart by a top side. So I think, football has changed. I think this is more down to the fact that Mourinho has more or less brought this feeling of you got to defend more than you attack, and encourage teams now to have to play chess in order to beat a team. It is now properly a chess game. No more do you find it to be an easy movement. So let's see what happens.
How many games a season do United have now where we just go, oh, we're playing this team. This is
sorry, Alexi. You hold that thought. We're getting pandered by our resident owner, who wants us to talk about Varane clearly, but also wants Fab to say the 3 magic words. I should put you all out of your misery very quickly before we get back to the point of interest. Varane has tweeted tonight regarding Varane, because this is our title of the video and all that, so please hit the like button, subscribe and all that. Official brief from Man United to be submitted for Rafael Varane in the next few days. United board keyword is confident of the deal, and the deal is getting closer. Varane has almost ready agreement on. I think he means to say has almost made the agreement with United on personal terms. He's not extending with Real, and wants to be challenged. No other clubs in the race, clearly, because we're the only ones interested in him. So, yeah, Varane, we've already, if you want to go back in the show, you want us to hear what we think about Raphael Varane, just about, I felt like it's been done for ages. You want to hear about our points, go back in the video. We talked about it at the very beginning, and yes, Alexi more or less put us this transient route of football being a defensive game than an attacking game. But before we get back on that, Alexi, very quickly again, Varane, big signing on possibly, hopefully soon to be agreed, and we get here we go from Romano and all that. But quickly, one more time, how important is he for United in this upcoming season? Not only to help keep Maguire and that defense not only strong and able to repel more goals going in our nets, but important in terms of our attacking output, because I think we've seen for a long time Harry's been desperate to get forward. He's been desperate to give the midfielder a helping hand every once in a while, and every time we see him go forward, we all have that collective shudder. Oh no, he's going forward. That massive gap in the back has opened up. And the fear probably grows in our eyes when that happens. I don't know, start biting more than just our fingernails. So, what do you hope that it will now free up Harry Maguire, and can he hopefully encourage more of the team to defend a lot better than we've seen in some occasions?
Yeah, well, I'm not being funny, but Maguire is essentially what Van Dijk was to Liverpool. He's that signing that's going to take us from second/third to potentially first. That's how big it is. I mean, I can't think, other than Van Dijk, of a more significant defensive signing in the Premier League in recent years. I just can't at all. It really has that aura about it, and that partnership is kind of replacing, or not replacing, because it will never be as good as, I mean, I hope it is, but it won't be as good as Ferdinand and Vidic, but this is what we're seeing now. After 10 years, we're finally properly replacing the players that Ferguson left behind in his winning teams. I mean, it makes you think, if we'd done this in 2013, we'd probably still be winning leagues every year, if we'd been moving like this then.
Yeah.
But it is absurdly exciting. I mean, I am more excited for it than Sancho. The reason for it is obviously because Sancho's gone on for so long, it just feels draining, doesn't it? It loses meaning. But this Varane thing, it's like, wow. And even after that, we might sign someone else. I mean, this comment here, I think, is very, very poignant. Ollie's building a fantastic team. Hopefully sell a few fringe players after Varane and getting a good sentiment/CDM. Yeah. I'm fully on board with this. I actually did an article about this the other day. It's on my Twitter if anyone wants to see it. We are bringing in really good players, but I think if we want to win the league, we need a holding midfielder.
Yeah.
Because if you look at every title-winning team over the modern era, they've had a quality holding midfielder. So you go Liverpool with Fabinho, or you could even say Henderson. Manchester City with Fernandinho, Chelsea with Kante, Leicester with Kante, Manchester United with Michael Carrick, Chelsea with Essien. Opposite United, you can go back so many years. Arsenal, Petit. It's always a common theme in these teams that they have a really, really top quality holding midfielder, and I think that would be the last jump to us becoming a really amazing team. A bit like I don't like comparing this with Liverpool, but I think the way we've built up is very similar to what they did under Klopp.
Yeah.
And I remember when they signed Alisson, that was their moment of, because they got Van Dijk in January, and Alisson in the summer was their moment of, okay, we've got a full team here, we're ready. And that's what a holding midfielder would be like that for us. It'd be like that moment of, okay, we've got a full 11 now that you can't find many flaws with. And it's a testament to Solskjaer that we've got to this point. And something I just remembered that we can talk about that's actually relevant, and it's not just me rambling about football 10 years ago.
Of course.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer signed a new contract.
Listen, I wanted to quickly touch on this because I went, Alexi knows, and I also, for some reason, ludicrously put this in the All For United show, which we're both part of, by the way. So hopefully you guys can tune into that. But also,
as of today,
subscribe to this channel. as of today, he's re-signed. But we keep tabs on this channel. We are loyal here. But yeah, I said this in the chat yesterday, and yeah, we lost 4-2. It wasn't. It's the first time I've seen United play in 16 months, I think it was. So I'm not fussed about the result. I'm just happy to have seen us play regardless. But the fact that this game happened on the day that the club announced Ollie re-signing for an extended period of time, it was doubly more satisfying being there, knowing I'm now supporting a manager who has a very clear project, and it is not cobbywaddle or rubbish anymore. This is actually happening to the point where we now, as fans, whoever's still blind to this, I don't know what you're doing nowadays, but we can see something in this team, and we can see something in Solskjaer that is not only a thing about, just him loving the club. He is pushing this club. He is stretching. As Vince McMahon normally used to say when he was doing his old promos in WWE, he would normally squeeze the living hell out of his competition. And he's doing that right now.
Oh, you shouldn't have brought up WWE. This is another tangent. Sorry. Do you know what? Right. So last night I was thinking about it, and I was really thinking, I really want to go and watch some old WWE again. I just thought, because every now and then I'll go back on YouTube and rewatch kind of like the Attitude Era of WWE.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't search for it or anything or say anything, but I just thought about it. And then I went on TikTok, and it was just all WWE TikToks. And I'm convinced there's like a chip in my brain or something, because it's crazy. Literally, I was just thinking about like WWE, and it came up on my TikTok. It's really weird.
Oh, yeah.
But I was thinking about it, like the Attitude Era was so good, wasn't it? I mean, they wouldn't get away with it today, obviously, because of the things that happen with some of the athletes. And
the United States government have been on Vince McMahon's backside now for 30 years. I think it's safe to say he's taken enough. He's taken quite a few hits. I think if he takes any more, I'm slightly worried for the spine he's currently carrying right now. But he's in great shape, by the way, for 74, something like that. What's a ridiculous
74, God.
Yeah, he's crazy. I saw him doing like this workout in the gym the other day. He's a machine for his age. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Yeah, honestly, how is he on it?
I mean, the thing is, as well, is if he's 74 now, when he was doing that thing with Stone Cold, he still must have been 50 odd.
Yeah, he was in his 50s, I think, at that time. So this is a man who, in his 50s, he's taking bumps from wrestlers probably 15 or so years his junior, and still doing it for the benefit of entertainment. How is this man not got he should be in his own Hall of Fame, for goddamn sake. I don't know how he doesn't do it. But yeah, the tangent is a good tangent, because I bring up squeezing the life out of a competition. We're stealing one of the best centre backs in the world from a club that we consider rivals in Europe. I consider that squeezing our competition, because Real Madrid today, in fact, I'll touch on this because it's football related, of course, right? And it's funny, they played Rangers tonight in a pre-season friendly, and I understand the game ended in a Rangers win. It did. The team they put out tonight, obviously this is pre-season, but they had in that team tonight the likes of Marcelo, Nacho Fernandez, Isco, Odegaard, Vasquez, Jovic, Rodrigo, Odriozola are just the recognizable names. And there's two youngsters. Their bench, who else there? On the bench, they had no other first team players. So they played their best team tonight. They're the best team they could have available without the players that are, on holiday or resting after playing at the Euros. That's comparing what they have there to what they probably may have at the start of the season. They're losing Ramos, Varane, and possibly still looking for further players to go out because they need the money for the stadium. This is, I think, the beginning of a period, I think, for Real Madrid where they're going to start. I wouldn't say they're regressing, I think, now because they lost the title, but they're going to be struggling for a little bit. That's my feeling here. And not doing this with Varane is going to change. It's not going to change much.
The thing is, Ahmed, imagine losing to a team in pre-season with Rangers in their name. I mean, that could never be. That could
Well,
never be my
at
football
least
club.
we didn't have it as bad as Real Madrid fans. I feel like I've not looked on Twitter yet, but I feel like it isn't a healthy place, even for Real Madrid fans, to go and voice their concerns over losing
Do you
to
know what
Scottish
though?
champions.
I find it ridiculous how much people have meltdowns over pre-season games. Like yesterday, everyone was losing their minds, and I was like, "It's our under-23s."
Yeah,
Like even if it was our first team, I wouldn't agree with meltdowns, but I kind of get it in a way.
yeah.
Like losing 4-2 to QPR, like okay, if
Put it
it's our
this way:
first team,
2 of the goals they scored after half time were absolutely brilliant goals. The
mm,
first one, which was a rocket from outside the box, Lee, and I'm in the United end, so I can see where this is going. Lee Grant cannot get near it. It is literally with ferocity into the back of that net. He could flap all day and he won't be able to save it. It was a brilliant shot, a great goal. I think it was Oje Badger who scored it. Then Lyndon Dykes from the edge of the area, I think it was, struck another one in. And this was after I think Alangel missed one-on-one initially
oh
and then
yeah,
had another one saved just before they went up the field. So we had 2 chances in the time they scored those 2 goals. And I thought, first of all, I accept this is going to happen because for the home side, they're trying to not only entertain their fans, but this is like a confidence booster for them. They need this. They need this to prepare for their season. Well, on our side, this is about giving opportunities to see where these players are in their careers and where they are looking to go. Are they going to be pushing to get in the first team like Lingard or Palistri is this right now? Or even trying to get themselves in the shop window, which Andy Pereira didn't do a good job of yesterday. Brandon Williams is in Southampton on Southampton's radar. There were some players that I feel yesterday didn't necessarily play as well as I was hoping for, not only for their own benefit, but also in case of inquiries for United to deal with later on. So, look, the result, there's no need to have a meltdown over it. And at the end of the day, as I said yesterday, earlier on, I'm just happy to have been able to see any United team play. It could be the women's team, and I'd have been happy to see them play because they still wear the same shirt. It doesn't matter what the score is in a preseason game. I'm just happy that I saw them play. And yeah, the kids that came on, they made a good account of themselves. I'm happy to see for the very first time the likes of Hannibal, the likes of Garner and Levitt with my own eyes, to see them play like properly. And even I think it was Ethan Galbraith was tossed in at right back as well yesterday. I was thinking, okay, Ollie's probably limited on ideas, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt today. I felt then, you know what? Today is a game which we are still trying to learn a lot about this team. Our main players are still out on holiday, and I think 9 days from now we'll be back training with the first team. So once they've had their holiday, let's remember we're also bringing Jadon Sancho with us as well, and I think Varane will be very far behind. So we'll have 2 new faces, although some of the England boys will know a lot about him. And Raphael Varane will try and probably do whatever he can to beg Paul Pogba not to leave Manchester United, even though that's going to happen.
What was Sorry, I mean it is actually a related question for once.
Yes,
What was the away end like? Because it looks amazing.
Oh yeah, it was great. I wasn't on the upper tier, sadly, but that was where most of the atmosphere was, and you could not ignore it. It was very, very good yesterday. And honestly, 4-1 down in a preseason friendly, and you're still belting out, Ollie's at the wheel, UNITED. Those for me, highlight of the day. The 2 goals we scored, they played a part, but they were the highlight of the day. The fans up there were fantastic.
Do you know what? Like the thing was, like, because I finished work at about 1, and I came in and I was like, right, I'll put the game on. I was watching it, and as soon as I heard the away end, I was like, wish I was there. I had really bad FOMO. I was like, I wish I was in that away end,
Yeah,
because it sounded amazing. You could really hear it, and like you said, in the pre-season friendly, I bet that was amazing to be part of. Just being there.
I never recorded. I feel like that's one thing I don't do this often. My habit is on European games, I always record the players coming out and the anthem. But I never record the chants because I'm always immersed. I'm too emotionally immersed in my surroundings. So I never record. And I feel a bit better other people do that because it reminds me of what I was a part of.
Yeah.
But I feel like yesterday was one of the days I feel I should have done it because it felt good just being there. There was this overwhelming feeling of patriotism. And we're not talking that kind of patriotism where you're supporting, Boris Johnson and his nonsense. We're talking
Oh,
a
God, that's it.
patriotism.
Yeah.
Let's not think about how grim that is. Um, it
No.
is that patriotism to the club that we love and have an undying loyalty for. And I feel we missed that for so long after the Europa League final. Obviously, investing in England and the Euros and praying that we got Sancho over the line and all that jazz. It all just needed to come back to focusing on Man United. And you know what? It's working at the moment in terms of like the positive attitude around the club. We obviously all know why this is happening, Alex. We all know why, but it's in some way it's good to have it, but we need more of it. And the fans, I'm sure, will be content. They still sang we want Glazers out yesterday, at least once or twice. So the agenda's still there. A collective agenda is still there for the common goal, which obviously is them out of it.
That's not going to go away as well.
No.
Either, I don't think. I mean, I really hope, because what we've seen in previous years is everyone's got a bit angry at the Glazers. Then we've signed like one good player, and then everyone's calmed down. And then we have a few bad results, and everyone brings it up again. It still needs to be a sustained thing at every game. 100%. I mean,
I think Leeds will be, because I'm going to be at Leeds on the.
You're going to be there.
Of course, I'm going to be there. First game of the season. The last time I went to the first game of the season, we won 4-0, and I felt like.
Wait, it was going to Leeds then.
I'm going to Leeds, so you'll probably see me at the Leeds game. So
I'll see you then. Yeah,
Alexia and I will probably do like a special thing for the channel on that day. So I'll see you there, Mister.
Me and my mate going up for it because obviously we're in Cornwall at the moment.
But when you get back to Manchester.
Yeah, so basically what we have to do, we have to fly to Manchester, and we can't even stay in my flat because my flat is currently under renovation in Manchester.
So you're expecting it to be like a 4-star hotel room when you get back afterwards?
Yeah, so we've got to stay in a hotel for a couple of nights and then come back. But the reason I quite like it, or the idea of it, is because even though I normally live in Manchester, it will kind of be like a holiday because I'm in a hotel. So I'll just do loads of touristy things with my mate. But yeah, no, we'll definitely come and see you on that day.
Absolutely.
I didn't realise you were there for that. We'll see you after the game.
Absolutely. I've had like orchestrated plans for that game ever since obviously the fixtures came out. It's not a tradition, I would say. It's only going to be the second time I'm going to be at Old Trafford for an opening day game. But ever since we thumped Chelsea 4-0, and I have to say that's one of my favourite days I've been to Old Trafford for. Like when I say best, it's the point where I'm so tired. I went to sleep and didn't wake up until the next day. That was how exhausting it was watching that performance.
I remember like not being able to believe we'd scored twice in a minute.
Exactly. What was it? It was Pogba and Martial. Martial scored. Pogba scored to Martial, and then
it was Rashford.
Yeah, Rashford. Yeah, there we go. So that went 2-3 in a 4 or 5 minute spell before Daniel James scored his first goal. And that day alone,
first game as well, wasn't it?
It was harrowing. It was very harrowing, and I felt good. That was one of those. I'm sure you
was
agree.
Up there, wasn't it?
It was a great moment. We all thought. I'm not going to lie to you. Even I did. I thought, coming up to this game, and I have many friends that are Chelsea fans who I felt were going to go there and I wasn't going to say give it the big ones, but I felt like they were confident and they had every right to be because they got their man back, their man they love so much back. The man who feel they could, go far with. And they were more or less trying the Solskjaer trick. I'm not saying this is exactly what they were doing, but use a former player to try and change the fortunes around your club. It's clear to see, obviously, which one's outlasted the other. But more importantly, it was, I think, the catalyst, that particular result was the catalyst for the majority, I feel, of Lampard's problems. And in terms of it being an experience, I felt privileged to be there to watch us tonk Chelsea how we did. Like I sheepishly went on to what was Full-Time Devils, now Stretford Paddock afterwards, and said that for me was one of the best games I've ever been to, and it's the reason why the fans turned up every flipping season.
Do you know what's
because
ridiculous
stuff
about
like
this?
that. Yeah.
We probably met each other that day
Mm.
because after the game, I went and stood by that bit, the full-time Devils bit. I was stood there the whole time. I got
You may have
pictures.
seen me in an Adidas tracksuit jacket.
The thing is, we probably saw each other without realizing. I mean, that was a
Yes.
really bizarre day for me because
An
that
accidental
morning,
encounter before this even happened, everyone. And
yeah,
the thing is, we hadn't acknowledged each other. So consider that
yeah.
our first official meeting before it even happened. There you
I mean,
go.
it's a crazy day because that morning or that afternoon, I got to the ground quite early because I hadn't been to the game for ages, and I was just really gassed
Same.
about it. And I didn't have a season ticket at this point or anything, so I was kind of like, it was really exciting. So I got there early, and I was sat like like the Munich tunnel is like the
Yeah.
kind of I was sat on a railing, and like I just see this guy kind of like jogging past me, and I'm like, who's that then? So, oh god, it's Gary Neville. So I was like, okay, this is my chance. And I just kind of went up and I was like, Gary, can I have a picture? And he was like, yeah, I'm in a massive rush. Right? So we took the picture and I was like, what's going on? And he was like, they've locked me out of the building. I can't get into the punditry studio. And I'm meant to be on in 5 minutes. And I was like, thank you for the picture. Run off. And then literally 2 minutes later, 3 minutes later, I was just walking back round. I was texting my mates saying, I've just met Gary Neville. Like, it's an incredible moment, hero of mine. As I'm texting, I physically, in the Munich tunnel, I collide with this man. Quite a big man. I was like, oh, God, what was that?
Why do I feel like this is going to be one of those like wow moments that's about to happen?
No,
I'm ready.
It's wow because it's so random. You're not going to guess who this person is.
All right, go on.
Sam Allardyce.
Fucking hell, mate.
So I physically bumped into him and I looked up and I was like, oh, you're right, mate. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I was so shocked at this point because the Gary Neville thing just happened a few minutes ago. So this was just already a weird day. I was like, you right? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, can I have a picture? He was like, yeah. And he could tell I was just completely just like off my, I was just like, what's going on here? And we just had a nice chat. He was like, oh, how do you think the game's going to go? I said 2-0 win. He was like, oh, nice being to you, mate. Really hope United win today for your sake, and shook my hand. And honestly, he's the nicest person I've ever met. He was lovely. And then I went into the actual ground.
Yeah.
And because I was sat in the south stand, it's where all the media stuff goes down. And I met Wes Brown as well.
You're running into celebrities on that day, then, aren't you?
All in one day, honestly. And this was before the game had even started. And so at this point, I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, it felt like a dream. Those really weird fever dreams you have where you
yeah.
Whatever. The Sam Allardyce one's the weirdest bit, I think. And then
for me, anytime someone reminds me of something like that, it's always narrowed down to the David Beckham incident. I call it that now, and I proudly claim this. It's on my Instagram. I will put it on my Twitter later. But yeah, I met David Beckham while working at Tottenham once, as he was a guest of the sponsors. And it was the day we beat Leicester 1-0 and Spurs had crushed Crystal Palace 4-0 in 2019. The man is so humble. He's actually the most humble gentleman I've ever met. And I'm surprised that he even took the time just to speak to me. I told him I was a United fan. And it lasted no more than, 40 seconds. But I just went on a massive thank you raid for 99, 2001, all the goals you scored for Man United, setting up the 2 goals in the 99 final, and everything. I went on a thank you raid. I couldn't stop saying thank you. To the point where when I shook his hand and I gave me 10 seconds to reflect on it after he'd gone on to do his other business, it dawned on me, I've just met one of the most renowned global celebrities in the world. And all I could say was, thank you so much for everything you've done for Manchester United. And honestly, I felt good.
I think you approach that in the perfect way possible by thanking him. That's the best way to do it if you meet these people. I mean, because when you said that, I was literally thinking, not only is he David Beckham, the footballer, He's David Beckham, possibly the most famous person on earth. Like, he's up there. I mean, if I saw David Beckham, I would probably just, I'd melt. So the fact you managed to stand there, see the beauty of the man, because he is a beautiful man, isn't he? We've got to be honest.
We can't disagree on that point. It's a good expression to profess your admiration for such a good man. Let's say that. I don't want to make it sound funny.
Was he a nice guy then?
Yeah, he was great. He was lovely, absolutely wonderful. And it's obviously, you know, that feeling where you've watched someone on TV for so long, or you've managed to run into them at grounds, or run into them randomly in the street. It didn't feel like that there and then for me. It felt like this is one of those, you know, it is come full circle moments, because as a kid I saw him score set up the 2 goals against Bayern. I saw him score the goal against Greece to send us into the World Cup. I've seen him score a plethora of free kicks, none more so important like the one against Greece. And on top of that, he's done, you know, brand deals. He's been on advertisements on TV. He had the academy. He has, you know, the long-term partnership with UNICEF. These are things like a combination of all these things that he's done, and he doesn't look at a day over 33. That's the funniest thing about it.
It's almost scary, isn't it? The guy doesn't age.
It is. The man has no age complex, and his sons reflect that perfectly. I'm surprised that I'm surprised they'll get out of there without a single scratch on their face, let alone flipping, you know, signatures on people's jumpers or whatever. God knows what they sign on people.
Sorry, I just can't believe you've met David Beckham.
I'm gonna put it on my Twitter later. I'll show you. I'll show you. I'll show you that.
I came close to the jackpot once, and it was it's a really pointless game. I remember it was on the day of the UK general election a couple of years ago. I think we played.
This was against match day 6. This was Alkmaar. We won 4-0.
Alkmaar. We won 4-0. That's correct. I was at that game.
Yeah, I remember Green was smashing one in from outside the box. Fantastic goal. Fred scored as well, I think.
I was sat because once again I didn't have my season ticket then. I was sat kind of right, you know where the south stand is and where the director's box is. I was sat right at the top of the south stand, like the director's box.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, this is cool. I was like, right, just don't. I was like, in my mind, I was like, don't turn around too much. And I saw like Ed Woodward, and I was like, you know, I was like, just gonna focus on the game. And I turn around and I see Ferguson and Evra, and I'm like, oh my god, this is really scary. Royalty. Ferguson. I mean, I've got. I'll send you the video later. Actually, I'll put it in our WhatsApp group.
Sure, mate.
Ferguson was probably about 1.5 meters away from me in terms of distance. All that separated us was the barrier.
Yeah.
And the guy next to me asked him for a photo, but I just completely bottled it. Like, I just got really, really, really scared of Ferguson, and everyone just didn't do it. But yeah, the guy next to me got a photo, and Ferguson was literally like
there.
Let's put it this way: if we were in Tesco's with the social distancing stuff, he would have to stand further away. That's how close he was.
Bloody hell.
But I've never felt that in awe of a human being before. I just was stood there, just staring, just like, because he's like the god, isn't he? And like the whole time, even after I didn't get the photo in the second half, I was just like turning around, just looking at him, because I was like, God, that's Ferguson there. But that's one of my big regrets, not getting a photo with him, because he's a bit like Beckham of managers, isn't he? He's just like the kind of like, wow, like you meet him, you're laughing, really. Absolutely, but that's a big regret that I didn't do it. But I mean, if I had that, I'd be talking about it all the time. Like, all the time, honestly.
It's clear to see we will not live this down. One day we will run into said legend again. I'm hoping at a time before. Let's just say hopefully very, very soon. I'm not going to say more than that because, you know, NDAs and all that stuff. But I'm excited about the new season. I'm also very excited that we're going to be able to see so many more popular faces this season with the no more behind closed doors things, so everything's somewhat normal. I'm not going to say that exactly,
that's
but
going to help, isn't it? Because in
it is.
hindsight, like I was watching clips earlier of like it was this Martial compilation. It was showing like his goals against Sheffield United and that.
Yeah,
I
mate.
was watching it and I was like, God, football's really crap without fans, wasn't it? Like it just wasn't the same at all. Because like,
I got used to playing crowd noise in my room whenever I was commentating on games. I put them on, and because I do non-league commentary. I'm sure it surprises many of you, but I put crowd noise on in my room, and it is surprisingly disconcerting to the point where obviously they can't hear what's going on the pitch because I've had to, I don't know, someone else is talking over it, so I have to put fake crowd noise over what's going on. And I'm hoping that masks out anything that's going on the screen. So playing fake crowd noise in a game that's happening behind closed doors, when you know it's very quiet anyway, is awful. Just being there when there's no one there is even worse. And I've spoke to players this past few weeks, even players, not just football. Football's not just shits to one gender. I've spoken to the women's team who love playing in front of their fans for Sutton. And they said that it did not feel the same without people there. Regardless of number, they're there to support us and push us through. And them not being there played a huge role in, not only our performances. I don't think they didn't play too badly. They lost to the semi-final, sadly, because of it. But it was that feeling of knowing that they'll be back next season and they're playing on the same pitch as the men's. Obviously, in the Football League, you have to have grass pitches and everyone's crying a furore about 3G. But thankfully, it felt a lot better when we knew that fans were coming back, and they're excited to be playing in front of them. In fact, they're playing a team this weekend with fans there, so they feel a boost from playing in front of people. And it's going to be the same for not just us. Obviously, we're going to be there shouting our nuts off on the day of the game against Leeds. But after that, who knows? Like everywhere else we go this season, who knows? If they're somewhat kind enough, and we have European away days this season, for the love of God, do not send us anywhere further than the line between. I have a line for Man United, like not to cross when it comes to Champions League or Europa League. That line is anything beyond the Czech Republic. If it's further than Prague, we're screwed in terms of we start to worry. If they go as far as Kiev, we're done for here, because they're playing at god awful hours in the morning, and they still have to travel back the next day after the match. They won't sleep. It's a shambles, mate. Honestly,
the
line is Prague, so don't anywhere further than Prague, which is affordable. We don't mind. We don't want to do anything before that's fine.
UEFA, Ahmed has called you out there. Do not draw United with anyone beyond Prague, or there will be problems.
Where did we go last season? It was Paris, Leipzig, and Istanbul.
Oh,
Istanbul, the longest journey. We obviously don't remember that too much.
The year before we were in Astana. Jesus.
Kazakhstan. -21 in Kazakhstan.
I've got to be honest. I don't mean to sound like kind of ignorant of the Europa League in any way, but I don't know where Astana is still to this day.
It is like Kazakhstan. Think of Azerbaijan. So you know where Istanbul, Turkey is. Azerbaijan is like a little bit further northwest of that. So that's like a 3-hour journey on a plane from Turkey. You then have to go another 2 hours further to get to Kazakhstan. And that is we're talking a yawning chasm is what you need to get from that point to one point to another. It's that far away. And the funny thing is, when you get to Kazakhstan, you also have you're not even going, when it's warm. As I've spoken to fans who went once to Astana, they spoke of conditions where they had to walk at 2 miles, I don't know, comparative to 2 miles an hour in a car. That's how slow they had to go during that weather. And it was slippery on the roads as well for some of the drivers taking them to the hotel. Incredible, honestly. Astana is the furthest we can go, and I think if I'm not wrong, they're still in the Champions League. So,
you know what? When we talk about loyalty in terms of our fan base, I mean, normal times I get on a bus for 5-10 minutes and I get to the game. That's not
2 hour
loyalty.
train ride for me, by the way.
2 hour train ride for you. What is loyalty is those fans who went to a Stanner away to see our under 23s basically lose 2-1. That is, I mean, I've got to be honest, I would not do that. I just wouldn't.
I won't lie, no word of a lie, Alexi. I think I purchased the ticket for the game and sheepishly thought my next paycheck's going to be a good one. So I'm going to probably book the outline and go to Kazakhstan. I still have the receipt for that ticket. I never received the actual ticket, obviously, but I still have the receipt of me paying for it there. It got to the point where I started thinking about not going because, first of all, my paycheck didn't look good. And the second thing was it got very tricky to plan this in the space of 2 weeks. So I still, however, have that ticket, the receipts of the purchase of ticket for that game. And I thought, what if I actually went? Who knows what could have come from that? And what experience I could have had in a place that I was in. I was 20. So I had a ticket purchased for the game. I'd never collected it because I was still hesitant. I wasn't say hesitant. I felt like I can do this. I can go to Kazakhstan on my own. I still had that, I wouldn't say fear of flying. I had that fear of traveling solo across the world sort of thing at the time. Mm-hmm. I'm not as scared now because obviously, I've done 3 journeys now across Europe. So the fear factor's gone. But that time was in 2019, so it felt a bit different. And I'm only used to 2 hour train rides, which is the longest I've ever gone out of London for. So anything further than that, it's we'll call it strange. We'll call it strange. It's a strange feeling. So I'm looking forward this season to more of those.
I'd be exactly the same because when I thought about where was it, Gdansk for the final, I was like, would I be able to travel out? And I was like, I don't think I would be able to go on my own. I think I can go anywhere in England on my own.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be able to go abroad on my own yet, just because if you're in England and you're a bit lost, you just go on your phone and get an Uber. Whereas you don't know when you're abroad and you don't really know where you are. And I think that kind of thing you need to, I personally would like to be with a friend or a group to go. But saying that, if we get by Munich, I'm off. I'm going.
Mate, I'm praying. I've already set my stall out. I'm praying to it's in the lap of the gods now, really. Once we know the group phase and who we play, I am now just hoping one of those trips is to any of the sides we play away from home, because I still retain memories of the game of Istanbul v Leipzig where Irfan Cankaveci, his name will forever be etched in my memory for his hat trick. Dani Olmo's long, near post finish, which was outrageous angle, and Alexander Soloth winning it from a deflected shot, and it ended 4-3. 4-3.
Oh yeah.
That was the night we lost to Paris, which when we still needed a point to qualify for the last 16, and I've been praying there and then watching that game. I need this to be a draw for our benefit, so that if we lose, we don't have if we drew, we qualified anyway. But if we lost, and which we did, I don't think the damage would have been as bad. But we didn't get a favour from Istanbul, sadly. But no, I remember that game. All-time classic Champions League game, but one that for us as United fans, we don't want to remember because of the stuff that happened against them when we were in Istanbul. But no, I wouldn't. I have nothing. They're not in the competition this season, obvious reasons. But we trips like Astana or dare I say Baku. Well, let's not think about it now, shall we, please?
Yeah.
Some of us have quite a bit of money to retain in our pockets, so we should probably protect that. We were talking about something before this.
I'd definitely do it for a final.
Yes.
And let's say we got to the Champions League final. Fair enough. I'd go to
But St.
anywhere.
Petersburg, though, Alexei, mate. I know it's Russia,
Is
but
it in
even
Russia?
then, yeah, this year's finals in
Oh
St.
my
Petersburg.
god!
May have not have told you that.
It's never
we
close by, is
we
it?
yeah, it's not that nearby. I would say it's St. Petersburg.
Oh,
If I'm not wrong, that's the official capital of Russia, if I'm not mistaken. So
well,
apparently it's a funny
that's
thing.
far away, isn't it?
It is far. It's 5 hours, I think, on the plane there. So
Oh,
it'd be ridiculous for us to draw to get to the final. I mean, we could just draw Zenit and
good problem
pretend
to
like we
have,
got to the
actually, isn't
final.
it?
Yeah. And I think with restrictions,
Oh my
unless
god!
Russia, yeah. Well, have you just
In
realised,
2008,
Alexei?
when we won the Champions League, the final was in Russia.
Yes. And in 2022, it's in Russia. So hang on. The parallels are suddenly starting to come into effect here, Alexei. The final
I'm gonna
was in
tweet
Russia
that
in
tomorrow.
2008.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
mate. I feel we've got a chance now if the finals in Russia. You never know. It could happen. It could happen, It could just
Oh
happen.
my god!
Flipping hell. Russian final, yeah. We've had an
Oh god! We're
epiphany
actually
here.
winning the Champions League, aren't we?
The treble, Alexei. We're winning it all again. All the pots, everything.
No,
It's
but
all ours.
it's happening. You can't ignore it anymore. It's happening.
Listen, mate. The signings that we are doing right now has fooled us with optimism. We're not, we would last season we would say it would be balderdash not to see us in the top four. If we're not winning the Champions League this season after our Europa League final heartbreak, I'm going to start questioning many things about life. And hopefully one of them will be, why did we sign all of these players and not win the Champions League? We've got to win.
What if, though?
No,
because if we get handed all of City's titles and win the Champions League and the league, we will be on
23 league titles.
No, we'll be on 25.
Is that so?
Because we'd get 3 and then we'd win 1. So we'd be on 25 league titles.
Oh,
and
you're
4
right.
Champions Leagues.
That appetizes me so much. It really does.
Imagine just winning 5 leagues in a year.
You accidentally so much happen to win 5 leagues and then spontaneously win the Champions League in the same season.
I mean, no one's done that before, have they?
Mate, no, never. I don't think we've ever seen retrospective league titles being given to teams in such a way before. But if that is to happen, we will have, I think, we would have to have 5 different parades. And we'd have to call every player that played in the seasons that we won the leagues back to do those open top boss parades. Paul McKeown just asked a question. Or said something here. He's just saying, the last time Chelsea won the Champions League and Italy won the Euros, the following season, United won the league. History repeating itself? I hope you're asking a question, Paul. It could be. If you're wondering why we're waffling about this, it should be common knowledge by now. But last week, Manchester City and the Premier League they've had a feud actually for 2 years now. There's been a 2-year court process which investigates Man City's financial fair play nonsense. Obviously, a lot of us will know about last year's, in our opinion, initial joy when we found out UEFA had banned City from 2 seasons of Champions League football and other European competitions because of financial fair play. They wailed and cried about it and then decided, here's what we're going to do. We're going to use all our money and flex on the UEFA lawyers. Went to the Court of Arbitration for Sport in June. We found out 9 a.m. on the 20-something of June. I can't remember exactly what day, but they released that Man City had got off the hook. The Premier League, however, have been running their own investigation. So it was clear that UEFA hadn't been as successful as the Premier League are seeming to be right now. A lot of that data has come out into the public eye now because the courts in the UK have repelled Man City's request to keep it private and have now allowed all prior minutes and documentation that have been shared to be made, put in the public domain, or for all of us to see. So there's been a scathing report on the club by the Mail on Sunday, I believe a journalist put something out. I want to make sure I'm right with all this because it is quite remarkable what's going on with Manchester City.
Yeah. So an email has come out.
Yeah, from 2011.
That I think it's 2013.
Yeah, here we go. Nick Harris. This is it.
Yeah.
Nick Harris was the journalist who did this, and he calls it them having the smoking gun in their hand. It's no word of a lie. The headline says smoking gun emails that prove City did cheat. So the word there is, as Alexi mentioned, an email which puts them under the spotlight from, as you said, from Simon Pearce of the EAA, apparently from Etihad, to Peter Baumgartner, which was dated Monday, the 16th of December, 2013. And there are bullet points of that letter, which are, stressing the key facts of the financial, masking that Manchester City were doing in that period of time when they were, let's say, being heavily invested into by, obviously, the Abu Dhabi consortium. It is because of this that with the Premier League currently challenging Manchester City's legitimacy and also the fact that, we'll just say, to dumb it down for a lot of people, City have apparently cheated. They won leagues without being fair. And it's because of that the Premier League may consider stripping league titles off of them. And if that being the case, other certain competitions may be taken away from them as well. So we might be 4 or 5 more league titles heavier than we are right now. And that's also not to mention Liverpool do also get 2 league titles, which isn't good for us, but even still, fair game.
Yeah. If we're getting 3, they can have 2.
Yes.
I mean, it would be quite something. I mean, it's quite obvious to everyone that City have been cheating the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be good for some retribution, and they deserve to be punished and be exposed for the alleged. I think I've got to say that, haven't I, for legal reasons? Alleged.
I forgot to say alleged. Yes, allegedly. Let's just stress allegedly. This is what's happening, but the proceedings are still going on
for the alleged cheating that has gone on for years. Many would say, maybe myself included, maybe not. But just to finish, because we've gone past the hour mark. One last thing.
We brought it up because Man United fans, we're all very excited. We would like to be heavier on the Pots sector, particularly forwards, which can we now collectively agree we've been robbed of?
What have we been robbed of?
We've been robbed of a fair few trophies. I think we need them back.
Oh, now. Yeah, 100%. Sorry.
Give them back.
Yeah, back. Ahmed, do you know what? We're going to have to do a parade for about 3 league titles in a few weeks.
Yeah, we do.
We're going to have to bring Ferguson and Mourinho back.
It also counts then if we do inherit the 2011-12 league title, which we lost in the 93rd minute and 20th second. If we do inherit that counts as our triple header of 3 in a row, which no other team will ever have in Premier League history if we manage to get it. So,
yeah. It also means as well,
defending champions, we're champions of England without even meaning it.
Yeah, no, we actually would be champions of England right now.
Oh my God.
They'd have to deliver the trophy to us. I mean,
we'd have a delayed parade and celebration at Old Trafford on the first day of the season.
Oh my God. If they brought all 3 out on the pitch, I'm up for that.
Oh my God.
But the last breaking news I'm going to leave us all on tonight.
Sure, mate.
It's been very enjoyable chat. I mean, we've covered a wide range again, but the front page of Marca, which is a Madrid-based Spanish news outlet, is saying that the Rafa Varane transfer is imminent.
It is?
And the headline says along the lines of goodbye. So that makes me think, Ahmed, that Varane is coming very, very soon, my friend. It's happening, but yeah, no, it's been a great chat tonight. We've covered a lot of things again, as we always do. From David Beckham to WWE, we've gone through it all.
We have.
I mean, I'll actually be able to see you in 2 weeks' time.
We will meet officially. Yeah. We will put something out on the Trafford Talk Twitter feed for something or another of us meeting at Old Trafford for We'll call it our first encounter. We haven't officially met in person yet, but we will have an official encounter for the very first time at the Leeds game. And honestly, I am excited for the day. I don't care if I have to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning to travel to Manchester to get, to have a Costa hot chocolate and 20 croissants. I will turn up there and be really. I'm really excited just thinking about it. So,
do you know what's weird about 12:30 kickoffs? Because usually I tend to get in the ground for like 11:30, 11:45, maybe 12. You've got to eat like a meal before then.
Normally in the afternoon, this is what we do, but in the mornings,
it's so early.
There's no pizza at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, what are you meant to eat beforehand?
Mate, I go to the Pizza Hut in around the city centre, next to Arndale, and I always
near
Piccadilly, and I always sit. I think they do this £7.50 all you can eat thing.
Buffet.
Thank you, and that is normally what I do if the game is in the evening, like it was when I did for the PSG game or Europa League matches. And I get annoyed missing that period of time because I like to loiter around the city, go to the museum, a National Football Museum, because no football fan should go to Manchester and not go to that museum. It's free entry. It's wonderful. You get to touch the Premier League and FA Cup trophies. So I've touched all three. I've completed the treble. I'm a winner of all three competitions. You can't touch me. But legit, I actually have won the treble. But you can touch the Premier League and FA Cup trophies if you have like a special ticket, and you can see all this memorabilia from the game. You can even play games in there. I don't know why people don't go there enough. It's a fantastic place. But I'm fine. I'll go there again before Leeds or after Leeds, one of the two. I feel that this Manchester City, whatever thing, will hopefully come good for us. So we celebrate winning 3 league titles on the opening day of the season, or whatever that may be, and have it over a delayed open top bus parade. And rather annoyingly, we would then have to debunk the fact that Jose Mourinho didn't win a league title at Manchester United. But
I'd happily take that.
We'd have to just for once apologise and then just say, okay, we still don't like you, but you won us a league title. So here you go.
If he's won us a league title, I mean, get a statue going of him. I have no problems. Honestly, no problems at all with him. Get a statue going.
Exactly. I'd love it, honestly. Yeah, that's it. Alexi needs to go off and God knows what. I'm going to eat. I'm hungry. I think I'm going to eat on the fact that we could probably be a little bit heavier in the trophy room. And that's something that fills both of us with great joy.
God,
we definitely do. Yeah, I know, right? It's unbelievable. We're going to be back with another one of these very, very soon. Who knows when? Hopefully sooner rather than later. And another transfer talk will come out soon. We've spoken about anything and everything, as Alexi stressed, about WWE back in the day, for David Beckham waffling over the possibility Rafael Varane could be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and Harry Maguire could score a few more long-range belters. We're spoiled for choice as United fans right now, but obviously we're excited for the new season again. More of this will come this week, I hope, or sometime in the future. And transfer talk will be out soon as well. Just doing a quick bulletin at some point this week about the Varane deal and other United targets that could be on the prospects, and also Pogba going. Who knows? We'll touch on that and other things later in the week. But enough from me and Alexi. We've had fun. We've enjoyed it. And I hope you have too. If you did, please hit follow on Twitter. We obviously are pushing to get a nice old following of United fans. We're doing our best to grow out here. More importantly, though, on YouTube, if you get us to 300 subs, we will do another giveaway. And I know what I'm giving away as well. Not telling you what it is yet. It's a surprise. So you've got to obviously first of all, get us to 300, then we'll tell you what we are giving away. So push 300 subs, and I will invest money in it, give something away. It's not something sentimental. I think it's something I feel someone would enjoy having, and it would be great if you get us 300 subs first. Then you get to know what the giveaway is. Like as well, and all that jazz. Me and Alexi are off for the evening. Please take care of one another, even in this crazy world. And we will see you very soon. Until then, have a good week.